Hello everyone, I hope all of you are doing very well right now. So, here we are again with the very first chapter of CBC Class 12 English Flamingo book, and that is the last lesson. Okay, so let us begin this. There is a young boy named Franz who is on the way to school, and he serves as the story's narrator. Okay, the instructor, that is the teacher Hamel, was going to quiz the class on participles that day, and he had yet to learn what they were. Like, he was not prepared for the quiz, as well as he was running late and worried that he could get in trouble. Despite being tempted to spend the day outside because it was such a nice and sunny day, Franz raced off to school instead. Like, he headed off to school. As he passed the town hall, he noticed that there was a crowd gathered in front of the notice board, that is the bulletin board, where all the news would come up or were pasted. That board had been up there for the previous 2 years, displaying all the bad news, mostly the bad news. Okay, Franz was astounded to arrive at the school and find everything to be so still, unlike other days. Okay, everything was as quiet as Sunday's morning, when a terrible silence descended upon the school. He noticed that all of his classmates were already seated, and M. Hamel was walking up and down the room with an iron ruler under his arm. He opened the door and walked into the classroom afraid. Instead of reprimanding him, M. Hamel kindly asked him to go to his place. Okay. The moment Franz sat down at his seat, he noted that the instructor was dressed up in his lovely green coat, frilled shirt, and tiny black silk cap with embroidery. You could dress like that only on major days like inspection or reward days. Franz was particularly shocked on seeing village people occupying the last seats of the classroom. Okay, Hauser was one of the villagers who had even brought with him an outdated primer. All right. M. Hamel mounted on his chairs, that is, he stood near his chairs and informed the students that he would be their final, that this particular day would be their final French lesson, and that the new teacher would start teaching at the Alsace and Lorraine schools the next day. The order had come in from Berlin, which stipulated that only German would be taught here. Now, France, this particular news was like a thunderstorm for France. It was unexpected. The order that had been posted on the notice board, he realized it was exactly as it had been. He lamented squandering the time instead of using it to learn his lessons. He thought, his thoughts about his teacher, of how weird and irritating he was changed when he realized that he did not want to give up on his books, which he felt like a burden a while earlier. He realized that the village residents had gathered there to thank the teacher for his 40 years of faithful services. Now, this particular thing demonstrates respect for their nation, and that the instructor had dressed in his Sunday best in honor of the final class. Franz heard his name calling to repeat the rules of participles as quiz was to be taken, isn't it? The first few sentences only confused him and he baffled. He embarrassedly stood there, and M. Hamel claimed that he wouldn't correct him since he must be feeling guilty enough now. He even said that, it is my fault as a teacher, it is your parents' fault, it is not your fault in particular, okay? It's everyone's fault. He also accused their parents of not caring enough about their education and of forcing them to work so that they could make a little more cash. He also blamed himself for the unsatisfactory performance of students. Now, French language was then discussed by M. Hamel, who would refer to it as the most beautiful language of the world and said that it should be safeguarded since speaking the language of one's captors is equivalent to possessing the key to the person's jail when they are enslaved. Okay? Your language is your identification. You should always respect it and should know it. To see how well he comprehended it, Franz was astounded. Like, Franz literally understood each and everything on that particular day, and he felt guilty for not learning things earlier. A writing lesson was also given to them after this grammar lecture. All the students were working on it very seriously. Franz wondered if the pigeons would also be forced to sing German when he saw them cooing on the school roof. Okay, this is basically kind of lament on those Prussian things. Hamel remained still in his chair, and the entire time he was gazing closely around the room as if he was trying to fix his mind exactly how everything seemed there. Franz thought of how hard it must be for him to leave the nation the next day. After finishing their writing, all of the students said their alphabets together. Class was to conclude when the bells of the church rang 12 and the Angelus began. Hamel was overcome with a choking when he got out of his chair to speak. He then wrote on the board, Vive la France, which in French means long live France. He basically is saying about the language that though people from outside are coming to take over us, we must make our language live longer so that the French essence is never gone. Okay? He leaned back against the wall and he motioned his hand. That is, he showed a gesture with his hand for the class that they can leave now. Okay, so on a very heartfelt note, the narrative comes to a conclusion. The loss of their independence under the Prussians' rule in Alsace angered the region's residents on the one hand. However, they also realized what they would miss. Okay, the independence and privilege of learning their native tongue, both of which they had previously taken for granted. Okay, all of these things have been displayed through France's experience of not learning or of not taking French language seriously. I hope this particular work and this particular explanation was very clear to you. Thank you for being here. Do subscribe my channel, and yes, a video on important questions has already been uploaded on my channel through YouTube Shorts. You can look into that. Thank you. Like, share, and subscribe. We will meet again with a new chapter. Thank you so much.